Hi, it's Mike Stevenson here. In today's video, we're going to have a look at another enhancement we've put into the reservation feature within Turbo 360. So here in the scope of my Document 360 team over on the left-hand side on the tree view. I'm in the optimization area up at the top. We're in the reservations feature and we're looking at advanced reservations. Now, we know that keeping on top of these reservations is really important, and there's two ways we can sometimes get in trouble with reservations. So number one, we might forget to renew a reservation, and number two, we might have low utilization of a reservation. So we come across customer scenarios quite regularly where a customer may have deployed a resource, purchased a reservation for it, they then do something with that resource. So they may move it between subscriptions, maybe. They don't realize the reservation no longer acts on the resource, and they're now paying for the resource as a pay-as-you-go resource, and they basically end up paying for the same resource twice. It's quite surprising how often we've come across that scenario. So what we're able to do in Turbo 360 to help protect you from that is we've got the new monitoring feature down here for reservations, and the aim is to make it really simple for you to set this up. So again, because we've got the tree view on the left, we're looking at the scope of the Document 360 team in this case. So in your example, this could be one of your development teams, one of your business teams who look after certain areas. Maybe a FinOps person looks after the HR team, and they configure things to make sure that team's money's spent wisely. Now, what we can do if we click the monitoring here, so we've got two types of monitoring. So at the top we've got expiry monitoring, and at the bottom next to that, we've got utilization monitoring. So here, what I can do in the expiry monitoring is we've got the option to turn this on. We can then specify a number of days before expiry. So maybe you take 7 days, 30 days, whatever you prefer. And then down at the bottom here, you can say things like send me an email to our help desk system, or you can configure notification channels here. So you can maybe get a message into Teams, or you could maybe use something like the ServiceNow connector. I think my recommendation would be probably log a ticket in your help desk system via something like ServiceNow or email. And at least get a proper ticket so it follows your normal support process. You'll have an SLA on it, and it'll be a good way of just keeping on top of making sure any reservations coming up for expiry, you get notified about them. Now, the next type of monitoring is utilization monitoring. So again, we can turn this on over here. So what you might do, there's two ways. If you think of the tree view, there's two ways you might use this. Actually, it's worth maybe talking about this. So if you're at the root level of the tree for your company, you could just holistically monitor all these reservations in one place. But at the same time, you could also allow teams where you're democratizing cost management. So if there's a reservation applicable to a given team, they can monitor that reservation. Now, here, what I can do after I've turned it on, I can choose the interval. So maybe you'll say monitor 7 days or 30 days utilization, and you could either choose to monitor all reservations, or you can just pick the ones that you care about monitoring in this team. To help you, you've got a view of the utilization over on the right hand side here for each of them, and you can easily see which ones are heavily utilized and which aren't. And then the key bit over here, we'd specify what is the percentage utilization we want to trigger an alert. So at the minute, if I turn this on, I should get 3 alerts for these 3. If I chose 7-day utilization, because that would tell me that they're less than the 75% threshold. And really what we want to do is, we get an alert to say, you've got these reservations that are underutilized. Please go and review them, and then try and either move them around. So you may change the scope on it. So a good example might be you take a reservation scoped at a subscription, and you may heighten the scope to be a management group, or you may heighten the scope to be shared. And then that means that that reservation can pick up other resources. There is a slight trade-off on that. So we had some interesting discussions when building this feature about how people would reuse these, because obviously if you increase the scope, let's say my team buy a reservation for my subscription, but I suddenly don't have enough resources. If I change the scope to be management group, it may pick up resources from other teams. So it might be the case that my reservation's getting used by somebody else that I hadn't really planned. So that's one thing you've got to think about. The second thing you've got to think about is actually, if I don't want to potentially share my reservation, what I might do is choose to kind of cancel or exchange the reservation, and and that's another way you can handle this scenario. So when you've got, say, a reservation at 50% utilization, you're probably not getting the return on investment of it. So maybe getting rid of it and keeping pay as you go is better, or getting a smaller reservation would be another option. So you could maybe cancel it and get a new one. Just be aware that there are a few rules around cancelling, about the amount you can cancel and stuff like that. So probably read up on that. But it's just a good way of kind of making sure these reservations are fully utilised. One of the companies we spoke to kind of had this principle where if a team has a reservation, they're not utilising it enough, they have to share it. And the fact that they're not utilising it enough was their mistake, but overall the company doesn't want to be wasting money, so they have to accept that it's going to be shared if it's not meeting a certain utilisation level as a principle. So that might be something to think about as well. Thank you for listening to today's video. We hope this makes it really simple for you to monitor reservation utilisation at both team level and holistically across the organisation.